Esperanto is perhaps the most successful attempt at a universal language used as an auxiliary in order to streamline worldwide communication. Um, it's considered to be published in 1887, the time during which the Unua Libro, the first book, was published by Dr. Ludwig Leitze Zamenhof, which detail a lot of the basics of the language. Its development has been contemporary with some of the most extreme violences committed against the Jewish communities. It is then unsurprising that these two elements have interacted in history, so that Esperanto has been, in some way or another, being shaped by antisemitism. In order to better understand this statement, I suggest we go back to the history of this language. We can go as back as the childhood of Dr. Zamenhof in the now Polish town of Białystok. It was, at the time, a city in the Greater Russian Empire, which was divided between a lot of different communities: Germans, Russian, Poles, as well as Ashkenazi Jews, which all were quite segregated and had very distinctive languages. In that context, the Zamenhof family was had Ashkenazi accents, but wished to integrate to the Russian community. They were atheists, and it's in that context that Ludwig Leitze had very early on in his life published and written some earlier version of the Esperanto language. After he later on studied ophthalmology in Warsaw, but he was forced to leave this town for Vienna, given that the pogroms were more and more frequent in the western part of the Russian Empire. In Vienna, he encountered one of the many ideologies that were very popular back then, one of them being the Zionism. It was during that time that Zamenhof had studied the Yiddish language and started to publish a grammar. Later on, he disavowed his commitment to Zionism, given that nationalism won't help further the cause of the Jews, he said himself. However, it is not surprising that his extensive study of the Yiddish language has in some way or another shaped the vocabulary of the Esperanto. For example, there is a lot of words from Germanic origins: streci, hundo, vetero, which do have similar roots with Yiddish words. So we'll have to fast forward to World War II, and we need to talk about the way the different fascist regimes used to deal with this constructed language. In in the manifesto of Adolf Hitler, My Struggle, the language is explicitly mentioned as a mean to control the population. It is uh, a bit akin to the Freemasonry in that regard, but It can be traced back to the ideas of the Protocol of the Elders of Zion, one of the groundmarks of modern antisemitism. It is maybe not lost on the Alternative für Deutschland that in order to disqualify the euro as a currency, they use the term Esperanto Geld. So, given the ties of that party with the German far right, some assumptions are easily made. So, let's get back to World War II. During that time, Esperanto is now outlawed in Nazi-occupied territories. It lands maybe the biggest blow against the development of the language, given that Europe is and was at the time the cultural core of the language. Even now, it's the place that has the most numerous speakers. But during that time of fascism and dictatorship, many Esperantists tried to fight back against this fascist wave. So, especially writers were committed to the struggle against fascism. For example, Tolkien, which was also a speaker of the Esperanto, as well as an inventor of many languages, had publicly condemned the racist policies of the Nazi regime. On the other hand, another writer, Batin, an anarchist, um, had fought in against the Imperial Japan, and we can also quote a whole section of the CNT who fought among the Spanish Republicans against the Turkish troops back in Malaga in 1937. Ho Chi Minh was also a speaker of Esperanto. During that time, he was committed to fight for Vietnam independence against the Vichy regime, as well as the Imperial Japan. At the end of the war, the different leftist factions had gained a lot of influence overall in the democratic political life. It is then unsurprising that the the traditionally left-wing Esperanto organization, the SAT, which is in fact the World National Association, became the second most influential association behind the political Universal Esperanto Association. We can maybe point out a paradox. The USSR also used to have similar persecution against Esperanto speakers, despite Stalin's parents being speakers of that language. However, back then, these different leftist Esperantist associations had a very strong anarchist core, which may explain the reason why they did not align with the current USSR dominated leftist field. I would like you to thank you for listening through this 10 minutes, and I wish you a good day. Goodbye.